So there are two drummers that I give full credit for how I play my hi-hats today. If you've been a fan of the channel for long enough, then you know the first one is Stuart Copeland. The second one would be Carter Beauford. Now, if you had any sense at all, the first time you heard the Dave Matthews Band, you would have been freaking out over Carter's playing. But if you are as big a nerd as I am, then the one thing that would have stood out to you the most was how he played his hi-hats. He had a very unique way of playing his hats that I don't think anybody else was doing at the time, you know, especially in the whole pop genre thing. And it's one of the things that made him stand out like a sore thumb. So I've kind of latched onto it eventually, and then I kind of been doing it ever since because it's the coolest thing ever. So today I'm just going to show you what it is, man. It's a very simple concept that that anybody can do, and it's super tasty, and it's just far enough away from the conventional way of playing hats that it might actually end up helping you find your voice too. Now, there are two significant things that contribute to the coolness of what this is. One of them is physical, and the other one is sort of a conceptual. So let's talk about the conceptual part of it first. Now, basically what this whole thing is based on is 16th notes, the 16th note subdivision. We've been talking about subdivisions since January, so this shouldn't come as much of a surprise to you. But the whole thing is based on a running 16th kind of train. And the concept is really, really simple. All he's doing is just sort of playing that 16th note template on the hi-hats, and he's just omitting some of the notes at random. So you get these sort of wicked kind of push-pull type accent kind of thing, and it just sounds really, really cool. But the thing that keeps it consistent is the backbeat. So when you think about it, it's kind of flip-flop, right? Because generally when we're playing the drums, the freedom happens with the kick and the snare, and the thing that grounds it, the thing that centers everything, is a hi-hat, right? Consistent hi-hat, kind of thing. This kind of flips it, which is pretty cool. So the kick and the snare stay fairly solid and consistent, and there's a lot of playing around with the accents on the hi-hat. So if this is something that you want to mess around with yourself, it's really easy to get into this. And all you want to do, it's kind of best to be sitting around your kit. You can do this on a practice pad if you want, but it's way more fun if you're sitting on your kit. So all you got to do is just start playing a steady string of 16th notes on the hi-hat, just like that. And the key thing about this is eventually getting that 16th note template constantly running in your head, all right? And like I said, all he's doing is he's just taking some of those notes out. And it gets to the point where you don't have to physically subdivide it anymore once you get used to it. You know what I'm saying? So instead of playing every 16th note, but playing the quiet ones and, you know, just keeping them quiet, you can take them out altogether. So you end up leaving these, you know, these big gaps, these big empty spaces between your accents. You don't have to physically subdivide them on the hats. But in order for you to do that, you got to make sure that you're always hearing it. So if you want to try this for yourself, like I said, just start playing some 16th notes on your hi-hat, right? And then eventually just kind of raise your hands a little bit and purposely try to miss some of those notes that you've been playing. Then after that, you can sort of just try to keep that momentum going on the hats and then slowly start to introduce the snare and the kick. So that was the conceptual part of it. Now let's talk about the physical part of it. Now, as you know, Carter is a left-handed drummer that plays on a right-handed setup. But most lefties that play right-handed setups play what's called open-handed playing, all right? So if you've never heard of open-handed playing before, basically all it is, it's kind of what it sounds like, but most right-handed drummers play like this. So your hands are crossed over with the right hand playing the hats like that. Open-handed opens it up. So now your left hand is playing the hi-hat and your right hand is playing the snare. So that's obviously more comfortable for lefties because if they were on a left-handed setup, they'd be like this, right? So they just kind of adapt and learn how to, play the kick with the right foot and just sort of adapt to a right-handed setup. But the cool thing about it is that when you're playing open-handed, it puts the left hand, especially when you're playing 16ths, it puts the left hand in a unique and cool position for accents. So a little experiment you can try for yourself. Just sit on the kit, put your play the hi-hats with your right hand, put your left hand on the snare, and then just start playing 16th notes like that, right? Now halfway through it, continue to play 16ths, but flip your hands and listen to what it sounds like. So when you play it the first way, you're hearing the hi-hats play all of the downbeats. When you flip it, when you play open-handed, now the hi-hats are playing like all of the syncopated or all of the offbeat accents. Now when you pair that up with the whole idea of playing the broken 16ths, you end up with this super cool way of playing the hats. So it's a really cool sort of alternative way to groove on your kit. If you've never messed around with the whole idea of open-handed playing, give it a shot, man. Start experimenting with it. Sometimes it's just a cool little gear to shift into in the middle of a song. Like you don't have to become a full-time open-handed player. Unless, of course, you try it and you dig it and everything feels more comfortable. It does sort of free up your right hand to do whatever it wants on this side of the kit, which might be cool for some. But the way I've sort of adapted to it and incorporated it into my playing, I kind of do a little bit of a hybrid of both. So, if I'm laying down something and it's got sort of that 16th type of feel to it, occasionally I'll just switch my left hand over to here, just to play a little bit of something, and then I might switch right back. But for me, it's more of the conceptual thing where I'm doing the broken 16ths type of thing. But the important thing to remember when you're going to do this type of idea, make sure that whatever it is that you're playing, you subdivide it into 16ths, right? Taka 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 taka, because that's what you're going to be, that's going to be your template. That's your sort of rhythmic template. And you can continue to play right-handed or you can flip your hands over and play open-handed. But that 16th note template is what you're going to be feeling with whatever it is that you're playing. Generally, I only do it if I'm laying just like straight bricks, right? 1 and 3 in the kick, 2 and 4 in the snare, just boom, crack, boom, crack, boom, crack. And then I'll subdivide it, crack, boom, like that in my head, and then just bring some of those 16th notes out on the hi-hat. So if you're gonna do it, if you're gonna try this thing out in a band situation, just make sure that you groove responsibly, all right? Make sure that the moment allows for you to do something like this, because if it doesn't, you're just gonna annoy the crap out of everybody. So that's it, man. Have some fun with it. Shout out to Carter Beauford. By the way, if you've been distracted by this cool t-shirt, you can get one. This is part of my merch. I got a whole online shop full of super cool t-shirts for drummers, t-shirts, hoodies, all kinds of stuff in there. This shirt comes in a few different colors, so you might want to check one out. Link is in the description box. It'll take you right over to the shop. That's it for me, man. Thanks for watching. If this is your first time here, welcome to the channel. Go ahead, hit that subscribe button and that notification bell so you know when the next video is coming out. Don't forget to drop a comment below before you leave. Like, subscribe. See you next video.